Scooters have been dominating the Indian two-wheeler EV space so far. But if you, like us, have been asking this question, where are the bloody motorcycles? Well, our experience so far hasn't been entirely enjoyable. The space is begging for some Desi touch. That is until earlier this year when Tork finally launched the Kratos and the Kratos R. So the question that we have with this motorcycle is, can it replicate the Aether moment for electric motorcycles in India?
There's hardly a soul who would disagree with us when we say that the Kratos looks stunning. Its edgy design does have a nice sense of flow with the body panels making it seem like it's one complete unit from front to back, when in fact it isn't. You get hints of the TVS Apache, the Honda Hornet and the Bajaj Pulsar here and there, but all in all, it does strike the right tone of an aspirational yet accessible looking motorcycle. Speaking of which,
well, unlike a scooter, the advantage of having a motorcycle is that it lends a far greater sense of control to the rider. Now, the ergonomics on the Kratos are spot on. It strikes the perfect balance between a sporty naked motorcycle and a pure commuter. You have ample leverage on offer thanks to these wide bars. The seat height is fairly accessible for even shorties who are 5'6" in height to find their footing. Now, I'm 5'10", I can get both of my feet on the ground quite easily. These mid-set mounted foot pegs put your lower body in a relatively easy posture. It's not too taxing, it's not cumbersome at all. And even larger riders, heavy-set riders, will find the seating area to be quite spacious. You can slide around forwards and backwards and find your favorite riding posture. All in all, it is quite comfortable.
Tork prides itself on making its own electric motors, with the one on the Kratos R being one of the most powerful units ever fitted to an Indian electric motorcycle. So, it should be quick, right?
Well, not quite, because unlike other EVs that we've experienced so far, like the Aether 450X, the Kratos R doesn't shoot off the line as rapidly. What it does is that it sets off smoothly, and it's only beyond speeds of 20-25 kmph that it begins to gather pace, and it can reach speeds of 70-75 kmph effortlessly. And within a short first ride, we could only reach a top speed of 85 kmph because there simply wasn't enough road ahead to push the bike further. While the Kratos cruises along nicely, what was becoming a recurring issue was that the thermal management system, in order to safeguard the motor when it was getting too hot, dialed down the current, and it ultimately led to the bike shutting shop. Yes, we had to pull up to the side, cool the motor down, sit idle for 10 minutes, abandoning all shoot and say reveling in this baking 40 degrees hot temperature. But having said that, there is a dial on the dash which lets you know just how hot the motor is running, and accordingly you can also gauge how much current would be flowing to the motor. Now, agreed, we were riding on some pretty steep terrain and that does put an extra strain on the motor. But having said that, we never faced this sort of issue on, say, the Aether 450X. And this is an issue that Tork needs to rectify almost immediately before the Kratos hits the showroom.
On the Kratos R, you get a pretty decent 4 kWh battery pack which allows you to go for 120 kilometers in eco mode on a single charge. In the most power packed sports mode, it does 70 km only, which should be okay for most city commutes. The Kratos R does have fast charging capabilities, with Tork's own T-Net charging infrastructure arriving in multiple cities shortly. But having the battery positioned right at the heart of the motorcycle does have its advantages. Tork was able to design the chassis around it using the battery as a stress member, and the result is...
Now, Tork's racing pedigree has trickled down rather nicely onto the Kratos. The split trellis frame inspires great cornering confidence, with this taut suspension setup making sure that the ride is controlled and settled, and the rider confident when hunting down apexes.
Now, this tautness does have a slight negative impact on the ride quality. The rider certainly feels the road surface, especially when going over broken stretches of road. and the initial sharp thud is felt from the monoshock. Braking inconsistencies were also there on the Kratos R. On one unit, when you hit the front brakes hard, the bike veered to one side and then the other. This wasn't an issue on another unit that we also tested though. The rear brakes were a bit sharp, but not too much to induce slides. Now, considering the asking price of 1.47 lakh ex-showroom, the Tork Kratos R does have some quality issues that need to be addressed before the bike is ready for delivery. The mounting of the front turn indicators is a bit shabby. The tank plastic panel was rattling a bit and the switches felt quite meh in contrast to the rest of the bike. Also, in the age of color TFT screens, the simple monochrome LCD unit of the Kratos feels dated. Even in terms of smart features, it is offering the basics. We couldn't test the track mode and its smartphone functionality here on the test ride, but Tork assures us that it will be ready for when we get the bike for a road test later this year.
So will the Kratos produce the Aether moment for electric motorcycles in India? Well, not quite, because when we first rode the Aether, everything seemed right on it. Nothing serious that needed to be fixed. Which cannot be said the same about the Tork though. In there is potentially a great product that needs to be ironed out right now, especially its thermal management system and maybe even its fit and finish levels. You will enjoy the motor's nice mannerisms and also its riding dynamics. But as it stands right now, we will stay away from recommending it just as yet, hoping that Tork gets all of it right by the time the bike is ready for delivery, which should take place in another month or two. Now, given that we waited eons for Tork to get the right product, waiting another month or two shouldn't be that long, right? What do you think about the Tork Kratos R? Do drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share this video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to ZigWheels and stay notified. Until next time, this is Jehan signing off. Bye bye.